Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We're here to talk about Pluribus. This is Season 1, Episode 2. We would have done these together, but Apple decided to crash. So we're back for Episode 2. This one was called Pirate Lady. Tom,
Arr.
how much do you love a show that is about... Black Sails was your favorite show on television for a long time. So you love everything
I heard it was a good
about...
show. Never watched it though, but I heard it was good. But I do love me a good pirate reference. Hey Julian, what's Pirate's favorite letter?
I don't know, P?
Tis be the sea. There you go. This is the kind of humor you get on this podcast. Welcome.
I think I just heard a lot of people abandoning the ship. Let's dive into it. We talked about the pilot and the premise, and this kind of backtracks, and we meet a bunch more people, which is pretty fun. But all I could think about when this started is like, okay, there's a woman dressed as Jesus, and she's like picking up bodies. And then all of a sudden, she's like handing off a scooter, and then she's going to an airplane. And there's zero dialogue, but they didn't need any dialogue. You very quickly understand, like, oh, these people are all connected. They don't have to have conversations. It's all one collective consciousness. So everyone's borrowing things. Everyone's working in concert. I think this is like in Tangiers, Morocco. I looked up one of the names that was on like a street sign.
Oh, okay.
And so this leads to her flying a C-130 over some people that you think maybe she's going to crush, but nope, they all work together. And so I thought this was really brilliant because there was very little dialogue, but you definitely understand what's happening.
Yeah, it just picks up a lot of what we left off in the pilot episode where, yes, it's a hive mind, but you don't really understand what that really means. And now kind of seeing it in action where, yeah, to your point, they don't need to talk, which is like disconcerting when they're just handing off a scooter, taking it, getting her coffee when she gets off the plane, like all these things just happening in tandem. It seems exhausting for this hive mind to be working as efficient as it is, but I don't really know the details, but
Sure.
Really cool and well shot.
Think of where the art of improv have gone now that everyone just has collective knowledge.
Yeah.
So funny.
Can you tell jokes
I
anymore?
don't know.
Like,
I guess because then the audience is watching the improv, and the audience is participating in the improv as well, so they know what's going to happen. So I guess maybe there is no comedy. There's certain they can't hurt people. They can't. I guess make people laugh either. Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
No
Very
yes
good.
anding.
Very good.
I do love the concept, like everybody being an expert at everything at all times. So if like anybody's asked a question about flying a plane or doing surgery, everybody would know the exact right answer.
Yeah, or doing exams. Even the little boy knows what's going on, which was like they really highlighted that point in that scene. All right, we wake up with Carol on the floor, as you know we've all done. Brown liquor bottle, quietly dripping. Helen also sleeping on the floor, just in a bit of a deeper sleep.
Poor Helen.
This leads to I don't know that I could sleep on the floor next to a dead body. I think I don't know
Enough brown liquor, you'd manage.
That's fair. I might join the body actually if I had enough brown liquor.
Yeah.
But this leads to the digging of the grave, and once again, I appreciate it took me a beat. They have this woman flying from Tangiers, and like they reveal why and who, and it did take me a moment once she's no longer dressed as Jesus, like to realize who it was. But I appreciated all of this.
Yeah, it was great, and like seeing Helen or Carol try to deal with the Helen of it all and trying to give her a proper burial, and like the second she puts that shovel into her yard, I'm like, oh man, you live in the desert. This is gonna be very hard to dig a 6-foot hole.
It's impossible. It's impossible. And if you wait for a rain to come, guess what? There's no rain, so the ground's never soft. You know, you'd be like, oh, we'll wait for, the rain season. No, there's never a rain season out here in the desert. You're always
really low water levels.
The sequence of Pirate Lady. Eventually, we learn her name. Flying from Tangier to New Mexico, and like all the people that are ready to help her. Once again, just highlighting the collective mind. I thought this was all well shot and very cool.
Yeah, getting her cleaned and prepped and like prepping the wig and just like all the things. I loved when they opened up that makeup kit and it was like a flower. Like that was super cool looking. I'm sure it's just a regular old makeup kit, but great.
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed as well, Tom. I was excited about that. When she shows up in her backyard and she's like, listen, Carol, like, you need to, like, slow down, drink some water, do all these things. And Carol screaming, like, how are you watching me? And this woman being like, oh, there's a Reaper drone, like 40,000 feet in the air. I thought that was a brilliant bit of comedy.
Well, and even the follow-up's like, don't worry, it's unarmed, which made me think of Dwight Schrute from The Office when he's like spying on Michael when he's doing his like Survivor Man thing. Yep. He's like, don't worry, the safety's off.
Yeah. It clicks it. Yeah. The idea of her offering her water, being like, listen, this water's good. We talked to the bottling supervisor. He said he was there when this bottle... all of that was just brilliant, leading to Carol rudely dumping it out. Is Carol rude, Tom? Or is her reaction to all of this well within reason? Or is Carol kind of prickly to begin with and continue? And this is just kind of exaggerating her prickliness.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen some of that on the internet of people not liking her character. And I think even the tagline for the show is like, the most miserable person in the world must teach everybody how to not be happy. Like, I don't know if I agree with that. I think she's just like a really terrible situation and trying to make sense of it all. And I would be as upset as she is if my loved one got taken away from me and everybody is turned into zombie people. I think a lot of her reactions are very justified.
Sure. I agree with you. I think they are justified. And I think that when she meets these other, like, survivors, we'll call them, I think that she is the one that I most relate to, as opposed to how the rest of these people are taking it. I would have appreciated it if Pirate Lady had been like, hey, every doctor everywhere says you're on the verge of heat exhaustion, and also every, like, therapist says you need to calm down because you're being mean to us.
That would have been pretty great.
Right.
She does make a point, though, of saying that, hey, we're months away from learning how to turn you. So it kind of buys us some time as an audience to say this is not going to happen right away. But I do like that we get a little bit later the concept of her like not asking what this hive mind is all about, which we'll dive into, because she doesn't seem to necessarily care about it at this point.
Sure. I love the bit where, like, Carol looks at her enough and she's like, something is recognizable about you, leading to her run to, I would say, a very generic romantasy book cover. And we find out that they have chosen this particular woman within the collective because she most looked like Raban, who was originally supposed to be. So we did get Raban. We asked the question, who is Raban and why is Raban so important in the pilot? It's all revealed to us that Raban was originally the woman love interest that they made a man.
Yeah, and I thought this was going to be the big mystery of the entire show, but no, they solve it in episode 2. But I like this concept, right? Like we talked about, Carol being like, oh, let's just say it's George Clooney because she wants to appeal to the masses, as opposed to like being true to herself and what her original design was for the character and having to be a woman in a gay relationship. It's like, it's sad. It says a lot about like how and why she made some of the decisions for her book, and then probably potentially what is going to be in her kind of like quote unquote masterpiece, or what she's been working on for 5 years, something more true to herself.
Sure. Yeah, I doubt it's going to be about pirates, but who knows, Robert Louis Stevenson, his masterpiece was about pirates, and we're still talking about him,
Yeah. All
right. There's a bit here that really upsets Carol, and it's this woman speaking on behalf of Helen, mentioning that Helen joined the collective before she died. And we did have Jennifer reached out to us. Thank you for reaching out to us, Jennifer, and pointed out we were kind of talking about, like, why did Helen die? And I guess Helen's demise was mainly based on her collapse onto the concrete. Like, it wasn't necessarily what she ingested, or wasn't like what was in the chemtrails. It was just because she like seized, fell over, and I guess hit her head on the concrete. That's supposed to. So it wasn't like necessarily a rejection of whatever turned everyone. It was more of just the physical thud of her not, putting an arm down before she fell on that concrete.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I feel like my wife mentioned the same, and I
Did she
I don't know
email
if
us, Tom?
she didn't email, so it
Then
doesn't
it
count.
doesn't count.
I could see that, and I'm not against that. I would argue, though, if they were really trying to do that, maybe they would have shown like blood, or they would have kind of pushed it a little bit more, as opposed to it just being the fall that actually took her out. But I don't know,
Sure.
because if the fall really took her out before she was like seizing and potentially joining the hive mind, I would assume that she or her consciousness wouldn't have joined if she kind of died right away. But I don't know how it works.
So you would have watched Helen hit the concrete, and you wouldn't have sent her to the blue tent. You would not have put her in concussion protocol. You would have been like, there's no blood, Helen. Drink some water. Get back out there. It's 3rd and goal. Like, tush push us a touchdown, you know?
That's exactly what I would have done. Thank you.
Thank you. I do, like, I kind of get where Carol comes from, where if someone was, like, talking for your dead loved one who was just taken from you, and she does it in such a, like, casual way that seems very intrusive, I would also lose my mind and be like,
Yes.
You don't speak for my dead lover, which is a phrase I've shouted numerous times in my life at all sorts of people. The clown at birthday parties, the clown at McDonald's, the clown
What
in
other clowns?
church.
The clown in that sewer.
Yeah, clown sewer. You don't speak for my dead loved one, clown. This yelling leads to Lady Raban, who I called her in the outline, to have a seizure, which is unfortunate. And then Carol drives up. I feel like Carol could have taken a beat to check on this woman, but I guess she's so upset at her that she doesn't really care. But this causes her to drive off in the sweet unicorn truck.
Yes, which is great. And this is like super, super interesting. The idea that Carol has some sort of like power over these people where they just cannot handle her negative emotions. And as we see, we thought it might just affect her, but no, it's affecting everybody as she goes to this little like construction site or whatever. And then sees this dude like hanging from an elevator or an elevated lift, and she's like trying to push the buttons and dragging him along the wall. It's like almost played for comedy. And as he like gets up, he's like, "It's okay, Carol, I'm all right." Like, it was great.
Oh, 100% played for comedy. As she's dragging his hard hat against the wall and it's just scraping. I was laughing and chuckling it up, Tom. It was incredible.
I was hoping there was going to be like a bunch of stuffed animals on the ground, and she'd lower him and like picked up a stuffed animal and then bring it over to her with like claw game style.
Smart.
That'd be cool.
But right as the stuffed animal is about to drop into her hands, it falls short and she loses it, and her kid gets really mad at her. And
Exactly.
the joy of Chuck E. Cheese ends. All of these folks come back. So what? They're out for like a minute or two, I guess. If we're probably like 2 minutes, is that how it felt on your end in terms of how long these seizures last?
I think so, and maybe it just depends on like the amount of her rage or when she kind of calms down. I don't know, because she had to drive out far enough to get to the site, and
That's
then
fair.
she's probably there for a minute to,
So maybe it's
to
like
have that
5
happen.
minutes. 5 minutes
sure.
to kill 11 million people. That's not
Ugh.
bad. That's not a bad
Ugh.
ratio, you know?
Terrible.
I know some have done it better. Let's see. We have Carol then like sadly driving back home, getting the phone and being like, "The pirate lady can come back," which I just thought was great line delivery.
It was great.
This leads to pirate lady helping with the with the grave, and Carol during this conversation like asking her like, "Hey, how many did I just kill because my negative emotions affect you?" And pirate lady like hedges. She's like, "Oh, just a couple, not a big deal. We're all good. Like everyone's still happy." Not great to find out it's 11 million.
Yeah, and like she says, like hundreds, thousands, it doesn't get the answer. And this might kind of go back to what we find out later, where Pirate Lady's like, we don't want to say anything that would like upset you or something else. But yeah, to find out later that it was actually 11 million people because of this outburst. Like, I get that she's like devastated by it, and a little bit here, but certainly more so later on when she understands the extent of this. Like, it's not her fault, and she shouldn't put any of this blame on her.
Sure. I would argue that, like, maybe give Carol a heads up that if she yells at you, she's going to kill 11 million people. That might be
It's a fair point.
something that is, worth mentioning in an email, at least, Maybe send a text message.
Or the news chyron. It could have been said, hey, don't get mad. You're going to kill a bunch of people.
Kill a bunch of people. Speaking of things that are delivered in a timely manner, they have a helo bring in an excavator so that she could dig a grave in her backyard. And I just was like, I was so jealous at the logistical options that are available to a hive mind, how quickly you can get things. And this all comes back to our boy, my boy, I will say. You don't have to claim him if you don't want to, but Kumba later with the Air Force One was just an incredible piece.
I got a lot of thoughts.
That. Yeah,
a lot of thoughts on Kumba. But I do. Like, I also love where, Pirate Lady gets on the excavator and is immediately, like, proficient in it, right? Like, she just starts digging the grave because, of course, she is. She has the same hive mind of the best, construction worker out there, which is great. And they kind of quickly throw out that, hey, by the way, we now found out there's 12. There's, like, another one like you, which I thought was interesting because, like, the hive mind doesn't seem to be, like, omnipresent and know everything. Like, they say they found one more, and maybe there is a whole collective of a bunch of other people that they haven't found that are in a bunker somewhere.
Sure.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, that is a fact that we should put in our pocket and use. I do want to point out that I one time rented a tractor, and the rental place, I was like, so anyone can just rent a tractor? And they're like, yeah, sure. I was like, because I've never run one of these before. And they're like, cool. Can we have your credit card, please? And I was like, oh, this is great, and definitely should be illegal. So I also appreciated Pirate Lady being very proficient at the excavator.
And that's when you put all the unleaded gas into the diesel-fueled tractor?
No, someone else did. I just discovered it when I got it home, which was incredible. All right, so Carol, as you pointed out, there are others like her, 12 others. She only wants to speak to the ones that speak English. Seemed a little bit selfish.
Yeah, why?
But I guess, so there's going to be 5 that will meet with her.
She even hesitates to, right? Pirate Lady's like, okay, they agreed. Like,
yeah, I like the instant messaging inside of Pirate Lady's brain. All right, we cut to 2 days and 2 hours. Carol is the lone passenger on a plane. I got to be honest, I would hate this. This just seems like when I'm on a plane in a collective, I'm like, surely God's not going to kill all of us. But like, if I'm on a plane alone, I'm like, there's a good chance this plane doesn't make it. Like, I don't know.
That's why she sat in the back. Yeah. She wanted to be the last one to die, apparently.
Ugh.
I mean, I would have sat in first class. I don't know. But like they continue to play on the idea of anybody can fly a plane. You have the lady in the TGI Fridays get out with all of her moments of flair or pieces of flair. So great.
Yep. Something is noted during this conversation where they are taking Carol to meet the others that are outside of the collective. She points out, like, hey, like, the collective can't hurt you, but we can't protect you from the other people because they're not part of the collective. And that goes into a bit more detail later where Pirate Lady points out that, like, hey, we can't hurt you. And so I thought that was interesting, and we do see it come into play. The show is kind of laying it pretty heavy on us of like, hey, free will is terrible. Like, we should all just join together and help each other out. And I was like, I don't know. Carol seems pretty rad. She got to yell at that lady, so I'm on board. I'm on board with Carol being an independent person.
Yeah, I'm Team Carol.
Team Carol. All right, Carol meets up with this group, and she seems to be the only one that is bothered by all of this, right? I don't know if these other 5 are just uncurious souls or because their families are still with them. Like, Carol's all alone, so I don't know if that came into play. But she seems to be like, I think she expected a collection of rebels. Instead, she got like a bunch of yes people that were clearly okay with what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like it's twofold. It's the fact that all these people do have some of their family still with them, and the fact that they have all seemingly asked that question about what it's like to be a part of the collective. And whatever that answer maybe was, they all seem to be okay with it. Whereas Carol hasn't been as inquisitive and is just saying, like, hey, you took my partner, my wife, my whatever, away from me, and you guys are all acting like robots. So I don't know, but I love the introduction too of like even having Pirate Lady speak like their native tongues and all these different languages as she kind of says hello. Just continues to do that world building that she would know every language is great.
Sure. All right, those are all good points, Tom, and I will tuck that in my other pocket.
Okay.
But
You are overall, so you got plenty of pockets.
yeah, I would like to pull out of my left cargo pocket the fact that Kumba arrives in Air Force One. And this is rad because, of course, you would ask to fly. I mean, I don't know that this would be my airplane of choice, but the fact that he did it was pretty great. And also, I've played enough video games that I recognize the complete layout of this plane because of past video games I've played. So
That's fantastic.
I thought this was interesting.
I was listening a little bit to the official podcast, which has it's less of a recap show that we do and more of kind of like behind the scenes. So it has Vince Gilligan and some of the like creators and writers of the show, and they were talking about how much of Air Force One was done practically, which I think is just incredible. Like obviously, probably some of the wide shots were CG, but they had like built the set interior. They had went to like Tucson, Arizona, I think actually to get like a like the airplane graveyard to build a lot of like the components of it to be able to have these big sweeping wide shots. It was super cool and cool to kind of get some of that background too from the other pod.
I hope that it comes back into play because that seems like a lot to just do this episode. I mean, it does seem like the current guy, if you gave him a cameo on the show, would just let you have the real Air Force One for a couple of episodes. But
You're probably right.
I don't know. All right, so we've got Air Force. Am I saying his name right? Kumba? Does that seem
I didn't
right?
clock his name, if I'm being honest. Yeah, because he seemed to kind of come and go in this episode.
It's a pretty rad name, so I guess you could tell which way I'm leaning towards Kumba and all of the choices he's made. Even though he's a disgusting human being, I thought he was pretty rad that he took over.
Well, like
this
at
airplane.
first. Yeah, like when he first comes in, he has Air Force One. You're like, oh, cool. But then he's got like all these like harem of models like dressed in like these different colored outfits. And then, it just gets more and more disgusting at the end where he essentially wants to take Pirate Lady away from Carol. It's not fantastic. Like I'm all for taking advantage of this situation that you have, but he seems to be taking it to the nth degree.
I don't know, Tom. Jury's still out. We'll see where it all goes.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. Obviously, he's terrible. I mean, did you see all that leopard print? No, thank you. All right, so
his fashion sense is what put you overboard.
Where I draw the line. We have the meeting of all of them, and I love that Carol's like, we need to talk in private, and I don't remember who. Maybe it's Lakshmi is like, why does my family have to leave? Like, why can't they be here for this meeting? Yeah. But Carol's like, what are we gonna do about all of this? And they're like, do about what? We're confused.
Yeah, she's like, hey, does anybody have any science backgrounds? Which I think is kind of funny because if they want to try to like actually solve this with science, and the fact that none of them probably have any sort of skills to do that is pretty funny. But yeah, again, she's the one here, seemingly the voice of reason. Like the future of humanity is in their hands, and none of them seem to care about it.
Right. The sight gag of her closing all the blinds on the windows so no one can see it, but no one else gets up to help her, so she has to do like each one individually, I thought was very funny. And ultimately, this group's like, why do we have to do anything? At present, the situation seems pretty nice. Everything's
and I think we get it a little bit further in the sequence, but it's like, there's peace on Earth kind of a concept. And I mean, again, like if you just take a step back and maybe you could make that argument, but in Carol asks it, like at what cost and like what's been lost. And I think it's a very, very fair point.
Free will has been lost, Tom. Is the loss of free will worth having peace on Earth? Based on how Kumba's living, I'm on board. Let's give up free will. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Free will for everybody else. Like you still have free will, but to give up everybody else's is a little bit.
Yeah. All right, you peeled that back a little bit farther. Never mind. I'm gonna get in trouble for this episode. It's okay. I hope everyone knows I'm being sarcastic, but maybe I'm not. Who knows? I like Carol. I do like when shows do this, when they're like, she's like acknowledging, hey, we've seen this movie. We know it doesn't end well. Like the aliens take over. Like it goes poorly. And so I appreciate her like mentioning like there's media about this very thing and you guys aren't seeming to pay attention.
Right.
This leads to Lakshmi mentioning, and she's got that one bandage on her forehead, so I'm like, oh, Lakshmi's the one that got injured when Carol
She's got a
yelled.
story.
Yeah, and, well, a little bit more than injured. Her grandfather was killed when Carol lost her temper, and she was in the car with him, which I can understand. I would have brought that up maybe first. I would have led with that if I was Lakshmi. I'd be like, hey, you're the one that killed my grandpa, you know?
And how do they know? Do they just ask, like, what happened kind of a thing? And then they say, oh, by the way, this other lady that you're going to meet, she was the one that got angry at us and killed your grandfather. It seems like an odd thing for the collective to give to Lakshmi in terms of the information.
Well, I wonder if they didn't give Lakshmi, like, hey, like, someone who's not in the collective overreacted, and this is, like, we don't deal well with negative. And then when Lakshmi meets Carol, she's like, oh, you're the angry one. Like, I think I'm connecting the dots here.
But she seemed angry at her, like, immediately, right? When she first was in, like, the airport terminal and, like, meeting everybody, she was immediately cold and distant to Carol.
Yes.
Gave her no, yeah.
Yes. But Lakshmi may also be a little bit prickly,
True.
which is okay.
True.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are prickly, I thought it was fascinating, and I don't know if the show is trying to point at this, but like all of these people have lost free will, and they're like accepting of it. But the thing they get wrapped around the axle on while they're sitting at the oval table is what's happened to the animals. They're all like, oh, there's no more zoos, all the dogs are free, like so happy for the animals. And Carol's like, can we talk about the people? And it just like, there has been a turn in culture of like, no one wants to watch a dog get punted off a bridge, but man, you could punt a person off a bridge and we don't blink an eye. So I thought that was an interesting commentary on society.
Well, yeah, it's just funny, like, what people are kind of gravitating towards, as opposed to Carol is, seemingly trying to understand, like, the gravity of the situation and how massive all of this is. But the one's like, listen, setting animals free in the zoo is great, but you're not going to get rid of my dog. That's my dog.
Right, exactly. Oh, man. So, Carol is then posing the question to these guys, like, what if they turn us? And interestingly enough, some of the people at the table are like, oh, we'd love to join the collective. We can't wait to join the collective. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Tom. I mean, if someone tells you, hey, I'm part of the collective, it's, well, this is kind of like joining a cult. Like, everyone in a cult's going to be like, hey, it's pretty rad. Like, even though he gets to sleep with everyone's wives, like, the cult's still pretty rad. Like, I don't know.
Well, Carol's reaction to it is fantastic. Like, listen, I don't ask my drug dealer to describe their heroin. I think it's a very fair... very fair analogy.
Yeah. So I guess, Tom, I'll pose the question to you. Are you joining the collective? Like, how excited are you to be a part of the hive mind? Are you a Carol, Tom? Are you trying not to join in?
Like I said, man, I think I'm Team Carol. I'm going to see what I can do to, try to solve this crisis, you know? And then if it doesn't work, I'm going to join the hive mind.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm going to try. I got to try, buddy.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you? You joined immediately?
Oh, yeah.
Have 100%. You already joined?
Yeah. No, I'm in it right now. And it's great. I love it. I love every bit of it. I love when I get yelled at and I seize. That's probably my favorite part. Oh, man. So, Carol... I think Carol goes into this conversation thinking, since everyone's going to be on board, she hasn't really weighed out her arguments well, and they all seem to be kind of falling on deaf ears because no one is... joining in her rebellion. And this leads to Kumba being like, let's have lunch.
Yeah.
This guy's priorities, like, number one. He's just number one for me. And this leads to everyone getting their favorite lunch, Tom. I don't know if you clocked it, but like everyone's lunch is a little bit different. The kids got like chicken nuggets and fries. Someone's getting lobster. I don't know. I thought this was a very funny bit.
Well, and it leads to the whole concept of the collective saying like they don't kill anything. So everything they have is like what the collective could make in, I guess, what it was in proximity and hadn't gone bad yet. But then even Zakuma says a little bit later, like, if I'm the one that kills the lobster, will you make it for me? And they're like, sure. He's like, all right, I can live with that.
I can live with that. Oh, man. Yeah, I wondered how they got those dinosaurs for those chicken nuggets if they weren't killing the dinosaurs, you know? How old are those? This is where it comes to play of... the collective can't kill anyone, won't kill anyone, and Carol, like, who's slowly getting more and more hammered off of day wine, she's like, well, how many people died during the joining? And I appreciate her being like, we're calling it the joining. That's the best your marketing people could come up with, was the joining.
That was good, yeah.
That almost feels like a writer being like, hey, we're going to call it the joining. We'll come up with a better name. And all of a sudden they're in production and they're just like, let's call it the joining, and then point out that it's a terrible name.
Sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, exactly. It does. Starring Mark Wahlberg. All right.
It's in the trees.
We find out that...
Say hi to your mom for me, okay?
Okay. All right. Is Mark with us now? Mark Wahlberg is with us now? Oh, he's in the room. All right. We find out that 886 million people died. And I loved Carol's point. She's like, you guys won't hurt anyone, but 886 million people died. That's, that's a little bit rough.
And her follow-up line is like, you got to break a few eggs, right? Yeah. Like, oh, man. It is such a large number. It's hard to even fathom and contemplate. And the idea that the collective is now wrangling up all 886 million of these people to do what with, I guess, cremate? I don't know what, but
shoot them into space, baby. I don't know. Make them into crystals or something. Everyone can wear them around their necks. Who knows? This is also the right moment for Lakshmi to be like, well, you killed 11 million, which is a real argument winner. I'm not going to lie. Like, Lakshmi kind of, like, mic drop. She won that point, I don't know. It's tough to come back from that. It's like, I didn't mean to. I didn't know. But yeah, definitely. Carol finds out she killed 11 million people, and her response is to get good and drunk. So she just starts going straight to the bottle. And Lakshmi's like, can someone stop her from drinking so much? No one's going to stop Carol from drinking that much. She
Absolutely not. She's moved on from the brown liquor to the white liquor.
To the white wine. Well, it's daytime, Tom. Brown liquor's for nighttime. Clear liquor's for daytime. Everyone knows that. Purple liquor is for breakfast. All right. So Carol then, as she is a little bit loose, calls everyone a traitor to the human race. She then marches off and promptly trips, which was funny.
Her pratfall was fantastic. Like, even her stopping away was, like, exaggerated and fantastic, and then when she trips and falls, 0 notes. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was incredible. We should probably use her real name. I think it's Zozia, the pirate lady. We'll just call her pirate lady. Never mind, Tom. I've done a terrible job, so we're gonna go back to pirate lady.
Listen, I saw it in the outline. I'm like, I don't remember them saying her name a bunch, so I don't know how to say it quite yet. So pirate lady for this episode.
Yep. So they definitely run over to help Carol. Carol, drunk, wakes up and just starts yelling, which leads to some more collective spasming. Which, when you're watching your family member who's probably got a chicken nugget in their mouth, seizuring at the table. I thought they were going to maybe kill Lakshmi's son, which was going to end poorly for everyone, but especially him. But this was an interesting bit where she's now probably killed another 11 million people.
Yeah, super sad, and just continues to show. And again, like, I love the way they do this, because Carol, at this point, she understands that her getting angry is going to cause something. But in this moment, whether it's the alcohol or just the situation and, like, having to take this all in, she still cannot control her emotions and screams. And I don't blame her at all for anything that's kind of going on now. Then waking up the next morning and realizing, or even, I don't even know if it's the next morning, it could be later in the afternoon, realizing that whatever she just did likely killed a bunch more people. It's wild.
Yes, it is wild. And with that, Tom, everyone leaves Carol. The non-collective, we'll call them, collectively did not care for Carol. And
she lost the 5 English speakers.
Yes, other than our boy Kumba, who sticks around for very selfish reasons, we'll say. I don't know if you caught this. I'm going to bring it up now. But there is a point where Pirate Lady, I was going to attempt her name again, but we'll stick with Pirate Lady, mentions the collective alien race. She mentions their name, and I only caught it because I was listening to subtitles, and maybe this was in the pilot, I don't know. But she calls the collective Celtiberians. Did you connect this when she was talking about, like, languages and, like, translating? She calls themselves, the hive mind, Celtiberians.
Never heard that, saw that. When it was like just from one of the conversations he was having?
Just in one of the conversations she was having, she mentions when she's talking to Carol. And so I would like that noted, because it's not something like another show would be like, boom, we've got a name for it. This show, they just like went right, they skated like they were skating uphill on ice, Tom.
Like Blade.
Like Blade. And so I just want that noted. It's CELTIBERIANS. It's mentioned.
Have you looked this up? Is this like Latin? Does this have a... I mean, this show's called Pluribus that has Latin connections. Did you look it up?
Tom, as I was skating uphill on ice, like a certain individual, I did not do any research. I just noted that it was said during this episode.
Okay.
And so I'm fully hoping someone who listens to us sends us an email at teambingepodcast@gmail.com and explains to me what's going on.
Excellent. Perfect. Well done. Way to outsource.
Yes, thank you. All right. Conversation with Zozia. I think I nailed it. And Carol. And she's like, hey, everyone left, but Kumba stayed. And Carol is upset because she's a mass murderer, which she is, and she's now sober, so she can feel all the effects. This leads to this very weird situation where Kumba's like, hey, I stuck around because I've gotten to know Zozia, and I would like to take her to Vegas with me. I'd like her to join my harem, in a way. And that's the proper reaction, Tom. Very good. And he needs like Carol to release her because she's somehow like attached to Carol, and so Zozo doesn't want to leave because she might upset one or the other, and she can't hurt them. I thought this was all very interesting, and I don't know. This feels like a tough thing to like hold up from the collective's point of view throughout this process.
Yeah, like the idea of them, I guess, belonging-ish to these people that have not joined the collective, I thought is an interesting concept. But yeah, all this stuff with Kumba is very sick and twisted, and he tries to like play it off like, oh, I've asked them and they're consenting. It's like, come on, man, they're not consenting, kind of thing. I even like the nickname that Carol gives her, and I'll do this as a podcast for children. Casanova McJohnson is the nickname she gives him.
Sure.
But I thought that was fantastic and great.
Yep.
But yeah. Hive mind, I guess you have to... There is some form of permission needed in the hive mind.
Right. And Carol is questioning all of this. She is just confused as we are. But she ends up on the airplane alone in that one aisle seat. I guess she's an aisle person. She's not a window person. In the very back, by the aisle. And she's watching Zoza leave with Kumba. And Zoza gives one last look over the shoulder. But we don't cut there, Tom. Carol won't let Zozia or Raban leave. She leaves her airplane, stops Air Force One. So is she doing this because she feels something for Pirate Lady Zoza at this point? Or does she just hate Kumba enough? That's not his name. So why does she do this, Tom?
I'm assuming she feels some sort of kinship with Pirate Lady here. And obviously we know, and she knows, I think that it's kind of part of the greater collective, but this being like the spinning image of the main character from her book and the conversations that she's had, she likely just feels more comfortable continuing the relationship with the hive mind people with this individual. But I loved the final shot, too, of her like stopping Air Force One and going right in front of it. Very powerful. Super
all
cool.
Shot practical. That's definitely was not a CGI plane that she was in front of.
Yep.
They built that plane, Tom, from the ground up. It can actually fly. In fact, a lot of...
If you actually look closely, she was wearing Air Force One sneakers.
That's true. That's a reference I get. All right, so... I enjoyed episode 2. I enjoyed episode 1. I have a ton of questions, but like this is a show that's just going to slowly roll it out for us. So at this point, based on them constructing the airplane, I'm assuming we're going to spend episode 3 with Kumba and Zozia, Pirate Lady, just flying around the world, gambling, visiting different places, just having a ball. Or Carol kills Kumba and takes over Air Force One. I think whoever's in charge of Air Force One becomes president of the world, right? Is that how it works in this?
I'm pretty sure that's that's how it works.
That's how the Constitution is written, based on Jefferson and Washington knowing about airplanes. Okay, so Tom, what did we miss in episode 2? Is there any outliers you want to touch on? Any pins in your pocket that you'd like to touch?
No, man, I thought it was really good. I mean, definitely much different than the first episode. The first episode is just setting up the world, and now we're really kind of getting into it and seeing what kind of intrigue that Vince Gilligan has in set for us, or in store for us. But I think it's also worth noting, we didn't bring this up on the initial pod, but Vince Gilligan, he has a history with science fiction. He was actually one of, the earlier writers on X-Files. So he knows this world, and I think him kind of diving back into it is probably kind of a love letter and project for himself. And I do want to apologize. I feel like I pronounced her name wrong in the last episode, but it's just Rhea Seehorn is the main actress, and she is, and he continues to be absolutely phenomenal in this show, and very much different than her character that I think a lot of people kind of were introduced to her on in Better Call Saul. So really, really love her character, really love this show, and I just cannot wait for more.
I agree. I would just like to say that if you're someone who's bothered by people mispronouncing names, please move on.
Wrong podcast.
This is the wrong podcast. I sometimes mispronounce Tom's name, so it happens. All right. Well, for those of you that are joining us, we will continue with this show. You can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. Please send us stuff we missed. Once again, Jennifer, it was nice to hear from you. Glad you're watching. We have a back catalog that you can go listen to. We try and keep it clean and fun for a lot of these strange shows that not everyone's watching, although this one's probably a pretty big hit just based on the Breaking Bad of it all. Tom, what did I forget?
Yeah, follow us on the socials at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcast. Let us know your theories. This is kind of a fun show where it's very original. It's not based off of a book, so everybody's theories are open and they can be crazy and wild, but nobody knows what's going on except for the cast and crew. So yeah, reach out to us, play along, see if we can try to solve this thing together, and excited for episode 3.
Yes, join the collective with us. Okay, so for Team Binge, Tom, I have been Julian.
And Julian, I have been Tom. Till next week, everybody.